The Enneagram legit changed my life. It makes me a better fantasy writer because the characters are more realistic. It makes me a happier person. And it also makes me better at communicating with the people that I care about because I know what stresses them out and why and where that comes from. And I guess that's a good place to start. I would like you to just forget everything that you know about the Enneagram. Okay. The Enneagram is not. I want you to forget about wings and subtypes. I want you to even forget. The 9 is the peacemaker. The 3 is the achiever. Forget that. I want you to think of this as a stress compass. It's a stress compass. Okay. Your Enneagram type is the personality type of your amygdala. And what I mean by that is your amygdala controls your stress response. It's your fight, flight, fright, make friends. It's that center of your brain, and it's a very old, quote unquote, design in your brain. A lot of animals. Let me put it this way: when the amygdala is in charge, nothing else is in charge. Okay. It's your fight or flight. And the concept of the Enneagram is really a stress compass. It says when you're stressed out, which triad are you in? And I like to call it a stress stack because the Enneagram, it's just 9 different ways that we cope with stress. And you have a dominant one, but all of them are there in your brain. We all get embarrassed, we all get afraid, and we all get angry. So, as a fantasy writer, naturally, I'll call this the Fae stack, F-A-E, the Fae stack, because there's one triad, 3 types that are the fear triad, there is the anger triad, and then there's the embarrassment triad, fear, anger, embarrassment. And like I said, it's a stack. It's the Fae stack. And this idea in the stress compass is that when you get stressed out, which one is on top? That's what makes it a stack. One of them has got to be on top. And that's the basis of the Enneagram. Okay, so as an example, myself, I'm a type 9, which means I am in the middle of the anger triad. Okay? So when I get stressed out, I get frustrated. But because I'm a 9 and my deepest fear is being alone or isolating other people or displeasing people, burning any kind of bridge, it just is horrifying to me. I am afraid of being angry. I get angry at myself for being angry. Okay? That makes me part of the anger triad. If I was a type 3, then I would be an achiever type, somebody who says, and I like to think of this like the anger types are they're frustration types. The world sucks, and then it's 3 ways to deal with that. The world sucks. Type 1s are the world sucks and I've got to do something about it. Type 8s are the world sucks and people are stupid and they need to be told that they're stupid when they're stupid. Slightly different from I'm going to fix them. It's more that they need to be called out. And, there's a sense of justice. There's a sense of like weakness versus strength. If I appear weak, that's like the worst case scenario for a type 8. For a type 9, it's like the world sucks and so it goes. If you've ever read Slaughterhouse-Five, Billy Pilgrim is a hardcore type 9. That's actually a great place to go for a type 9. One of the first chapters, I think it's the end of the first chapter, is about him turning an enemy into a friend. He's a type 9. Okay. The embarrassment types, 2, 3, and 4, I like to call them the self-worth types. And this is like, where do I get my self-worth from? If you're a type 2, people call this the helper type. This is like, I get my self-worth from being responsible for somebody else's self-worth. Okay, so this is like the person who hosts that event and everybody's complimenting the event and they're really complimenting them. Or, a famous first lady of a president or something like that. Not this president, obviously, but like if someone is like, oh, my spouse is really successful and I'm part of that, that would be a type 2. And it's like I get my self-worth from the services that I provide to the world around me. a lot of people who are very proud to be parents, type 2s. Type 3, I'm an achiever type. So like, I'm not, but like, let's say you're an achiever type, you get your self-worth from the things that you have achieved. I wrote a book in 3 days. I won this award. I won this much amount of money. When you look at Alex Hormozy or a lot of people in the business space, you see a lot of type 3s, people who say, I have achieved a certain amount, and that's where I get my self-worth from. A type 4, it's I get my self-worth from how special and unique I am. I get my self-worth from something that I created that's beautiful. I get my self-worth from something that I can do that nobody else can do, that I can provide that nobody else can provide. In a business sphere, in the business sphere, Seth Godin is a really good example. His breakthrough book was Purple Cow, and it's all about being unique. And Hendrix was a type 4. Hendrix, there's one God and his name is Hendrix, my wife is a type 4. Type 4s run the world as far as I'm concerned, because it's all about finding the truth inside of yourself. When we move over to the fear triad is a lot about understanding. What's the best, like my best weapon against stress is understanding. And the 5, 6, and 7, aim to understand certain things first, right? So the type 5 says, I just need to understand everything and then I'll never have to be afraid again. The type 6 says it's all about trust. Like if I trust the wrong person, it doesn't matter what else I know, because things are going to be bad. And if I trust the right person, then I'll always feel safe. A type 7 is going to be like, I can only trust experiences. And so I'm going to experience fun things, interesting things. The 7 and the 4 often get along and really understand each other very well, because it's like, I can only, like, it's in the same way that the type 9 is the anti-fear, in the same way that the type 9 is the anti-anger type. The type 7 is like, the way that I conquer fear is by not being afraid ever, And type 7s often will be, they'll be afraid of unexpected pain, of discomfort. And also there's this sense of like, I don't want to be caged. I don't want to be contained. The type 7 is like, I never, like, life is a feast, eat everything. I've got to experience everything if I really want to be prepared not to ever be afraid. And it's all about fun, but it's all about like wit, and like the type 7s that I know, it has to do a lot with puzzles and wit. And, in my books, there are 9 Enneagram gods, basically. Each god is a type on the Enneagram. And the type 7 is all about giving creatures wings. Any creature that asks it, it gets wings. It's the god of wind. It's the god of fun. But it's also the god of escape, right? So thinking about it in this way, as a stress compass, is a much better way than to, like, I wouldn't worry about the wings. I wouldn't worry about your subtypes or anything like that. I would just look at which triad am I in? What's the stack and what's on top today? What's on top right now? People with DID, it's just I have different ways to cope on different days, and oftentimes they are the most in tune with these different types. When you're stressed, when we're comfortable, humans are extremely nuanced. We have a lot of differences and a lot of beauty and a lot of no story is the same. But as soon as we get stressed out, we really do fall into this stress compass, and it's huge. It's infinite also. Like, I don't want to give the impression that like once you know somebody's type, you know everything about them, but it's easier to understand what is stressing them out when they're stressed out and how to deal with it. There was a day where someone just said like, as a type 9, I often feel invisible because I make myself invisible, because I don't want anybody to leave. And when people make me feel seen, that's how to get me to cry, like every single time. And when I see other type 9s and I say like, wow, I really see what you're doing and I appreciate you and you're brilliant. I don't know, it changes the way that people see you and themselves. And you can turn a person's whole day around. When you see that somebody is stressed out and you know that they're a type 7, you can say, hey, like, let's do something fun. Let's just do something fun. When you meet a type 5 and they're really stressed out and overwhelmed, and you know that they just need a better sense of like privacy and space, it's a game changer. So learn about it. Learn about it with a grain of salt. Don't look into the wings so much. I don't think the wings are very valid. Think of it as a stress compass.